Alright, today I'm going to be talking about the Utopia project. Basically how this will work is you have 5 or 10 separate tasks that you need to complete, depending if you're working by yourself or with a partner. What we will do is to complete each one of these separate tasks, you will do each one of these on your iPad, and for the final presentation you're going to be putting it together in Prezi, which will be on the MacBooks. So the problem arises, how do we get the work that you've completed on your iPad onto the MacBook so that you can put it together in a Prezi? And the answer to that is going to be the Prezi app. So before we get to the Prezi app, I just want to point a few things out. This project requires a lot of writing, so you probably want to complete this writing in an app like Evernote or Notes Anytime or Documents Free, whatever you prefer, wherever you like to write. There are also a lot of other tasks where you have to create pictures. Make sure that you have those saved to your camera roll. For example, when you have to explain the government of your utopia, and then you have to make a flow chart. So whenever you complete that, make sure that's in your camera roll. So back to our problem at hand. Once we have all this work, once you've typed everything that you needed to type and have everything saved in your camera roll as well, how do we get that from your iPad onto the MacBook? And the answer to that is going to be through the Prezi app. Okay, if you've never used Prezi before and you download the Prezi app, it's going to ask you to create an account, so make sure that you do that. Don't get fancy with it again, just use your school information. Once you've created an account and created a password, this is the screen that you see now. I have some Prezis already open. These are some different things that I've been working on. You should just have a blank screen. So to get started, you want to click on New Prezi. Give it a title. You might want to either call it like Utopia or the name that you gave to your town. In the app, you don't have the option to set it to private, so you do have to set this to public. So at this point, you probably have a question: why don't we just complete this whole entire project on the iPad in the Prezi app? Well, the problem with the app is really the only two things that you can do, if you look on the right side, is insert text and also embed photos. When in later videos you'll see everything that you can do on the MacBooks. You can basically add animation, you can add movement, add frames, and different things like that. So you just have a lot more options on the MacBook. Where really here on the iPad, again, you only have two. But this will be good. You can put all your text in here, all the photos, and we're not going to be fancy here on the iPad. We're just going to get everything out there, and then when we transfer over to the MacBooks, then you'll be able to really to really make a good presentation. So again, we're really just using the app to get all your work from the iPad onto the MacBook. So really nothing fancy here. So all that writing that you did on the iPad, drag a text box over, and then you can either type in your assignment, or if you have it written up in another place, you can just paste in what you have. Create a new text box for each for each task that you had. And then likewise, so maybe I'll call this one. And the same thing goes for your photos. And I'll say this again, you don't have to get fancy. You're really not finalizing the project in here. So just make sure all your text is in here and all your photos are in here for each part of the project. When we get to the MacBook, that's when you're going to be arranging things. That's when you're going to be creating slides. You're going to be creating movement. You're going to be creating animation. Really, our goal right now on the iPad is just to get everything here so that we can have access to it on the MacBooks. And that's pretty much it. And it's as simple as that. In the next two videos, we'll be transferring over to the MacBooks, and I'll be showing you how to create a really interactive presentation on Prezi using the MacBooks.